All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another 8 Letters Book Talk here at 8 Letters Bookstore and Publishing. This is held every Saturday from 4 p.m. onwards, where we feature a number of Filipino authors. So, yes, you guessed that right. We'll have another Saturday filled with Philippine literature, as you can see in our description. We'll have several writers today. So one will be David Chan for the Kindred Chronicles. We'll also have Justine Masim, the author of January Again, and we'll also have the team of the Filipino writers, the authors of The Dark is Waiting to Sing. Wow. Okay, I have to commend my memorization skills. Anyway, just a few housekeeping before we get to our first writer of the day. We just had we just opened the C Lit Writers Festival in collaboration with many writers in Southeast Asia and as well as publishers. We just had a talk there. If if you're hearing this the first time, you should attend, whether you're a writer or you're a reader. It will be very helpful for you. I think, or I believe, this is a very it's good value for money. You don't really have to travel that far to converse with other writers or other readers in the community. So it's good for you to reach out. It'll be good to collaborate, or to network, to spread your network um, through these online conferences. So, all right. Yeah, yun lang. Bukas, meron akong talk ulit. It will be entitled Publishing in Southeast Asia. So, you guys can still attend. I believe you can get a ticket for only about 25 US dollars. It's still a lot better than buying a flight ticket and booking your hotel and ano ba, yun nga. So you can do it in the comfort of your home. It'll be held in Gather, so konting technical skills lang, and you'll be fine. So there. Okay. So without further ado, let me welcome David. So you guys, hindi na he's no stranger to you guys. You've heard him talk during our um one of the Lit Fest in the past. So he published uh his Pinoy sci-fi book before, pero ngayon this time we're going to give him the spotlight that he deserves. Okay, so David, hi. Hello there.
Hi, hello Cindy.
Ayun. So yes, we're going to talk about the Kindred Chronicles, although we've already touched base with that in the past online festival, right? Online Lit Fest. So um what we want to hear from you, because like before, you kind of educated us in world building and how, like, your journey in publishing a science fiction book.
Mhm.
What we want to focus now is the story itself, the meat. Okay, so the meat. Can you tell us muna, okay, for starters, para sa mga hindi pa nakakarinig, like, what is the Kindred Chronicles all about? Is this a series?
Yes, it's actually a series. So it's the first of five books. I'm
Mm-hmm.
writing book two right now, actually, and I'm very excited because I'm hoping to finish and launch book two by mid next year, hopefully. But yes, you're right. It is a series. It's the first of five.
Wow, wow. So this sounds promising. I just want to share the book cover muna, because it's now available on our website, as well as in Shopee. I think later this week it'll be available on Shopee. Yeah, so I can see. Okay, so this is the cover, The Kindred Chronicles Between Two Worlds. Okay, so that's the entire title. So this is the first book of five. Is that right?
Yes, it's the
Wow,
first book.
malayo-layo pa. Okay. So, what are the two worlds?
Good question. Well, the concept of the whole book is about how we think that we're so different, but actually we're not so different when we get to the bare bones of who we are as people. And so Between Two Worlds is the this is actually inspired by a writer named John Stott. and he wrote a book that connects two worlds: the world of speaking and preaching, and the world that we have today. And so, I wanted to jump on that idea
Mm-hmm.
that if we take a look at, and this is a sci-fi book, of course, sci-fi fantasy, urban fantasy sci-fi. So if we take a look at the whole theme, it's about um, this young man. He falls in love with this girl, but he doesn't know that she's actually a kind of princess of a superhuman race called the kindred race, and he's stuck between two worlds now. He gets, well, he gets dragged into her world, and they have the the lady, the girl, they have a traitor who wants to start war between mankind and kindred kind, and they want to stop it. And now he's dragged into the whole thing. So he's in between these two worlds.
Mm-hmm. So that is Chris and Aline, right? These are
Yes.
the two main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how would you describe ano ba yung ibig sabihin if you're part of that kindred um nationality?
Mm. Yeah, or race or
Race,
species.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the kindred race, there's actually four of them that I write in my book.
Mhm.
And I'll just give a, maybe I guess, a rundown of each race. And
Mhm.
so when you say kindred, it means kind of like a relative, because
Mhm.
they're humanoids. So the first race are the weavers. They look just like humans, but they have the ability to weave or manipulate either energy or matter or emotions. And then we've got the Atlanteans, but I reimagine
Mhm.
them to not be, not so much human, more and more uh, not really monster. I don't want to say monster, but they're humanoid, but they're different. They have
Mhm.
scales. They look more like sea creatures. So that's the Atlanteans. Then we've got the Thalanar. The Thalanar is a race who look very much like humans, but they are extra agile, extra fast. They can hear the wind, and for them, the wind has a consciousness. So they
Mhm.
listen to the wind, and they can actually predict what what the enemy is going to do before the enemy does it in terms of movement and skill. And the last of the races, I call them the Jar,
Mhm.
DJAR. And the concept there is, if you think of the abominable snowman or these folklore creatures we have, like werewolves and all of that, in my world, in this book, these are all legends that come from sightings of the Jar, because the Jar are beast-like creatures. They're
Mhm.
humanoids, but they're huge, and they look more like crosses of beasts and humans. And so those are the four kindred races.
Mhm. And what is Chris? Is he a kindred or normal human being?
He's normal. He's a human being. He's your average guy who just
Uh-huh.
gets entangled in the whole mess of the kindred
Oh,
world.
dear. Okay, so in
Yeah.
this world that you built, basically all these four kindred species,
Hmm.
species types, kasama siya ng humans.
Yes, they
They live
live among
together.
us. They live among us,
Okay.
especially the Thalinar and the Weavers, because they
Mm-hmm.
look just like us. The
Mm-hmm.
Atlanteans are in hiding. The Jar are also in hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Okay. So there are those that in hiding, and okay, that's interesting. I think now my question would be, uh, you have, I believe you spent so much time world building.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. So like how do you strike a balance? Because like I would imagine you, please correct me if I'm wrong. I would imagine you building this world up and then at the same time, working on the plot of the story.
Hmm.
So yeah, so how do you strike a balance? Do you think okay, I you can play God, you can do everything.
Well, there's really no balance, to be honest. It's just a lot of
Mhm.
fun, because I guess what I do when it comes to the process is I separate my time, and I'm very, very strict with my planner. So
Mm.
I'm old fashioned that way. I use a planner, and it's paper. It's not like the Google Calendar. It's really a notebook. And
Okay.
what I do is I schedule. Am I on a world? am I going to do world building mode, or am I going to go into plot
Mhm.
writing mode? So I really just schedule everything. But yeah, that's the process I
Okay.
use.
Oh, you must be a
Yeah,
very disciplined person to do all this. So you sabi mo kanina, it's going to be a series. So later in the series, are we going to shed some spotlight on the other kinds?
absolutely. So
Wow, nice.
I'll just share it na lang straight. So book one
Mm-mm.
is an introduction to everything. Book two, the spotlight will be on the Atlanteans. Therefore, the title is going to be The Kindred Chronicles: Tides of War. And
Mhm.
then book three will really give a spotlight to Sol Thalen. And then book
Okay.
four on the jar. And then lastly, book five will be on the Weavers, the
Mhm.
main big clash at the very end.
Right. Okay. Just to
Yes.
give our viewers an idea, like, do you have a time frame? When do you plan to get book five out? I know you're a very busy guy, but yun.
Uh, well, now that I'm done with almost everything that I had to finish and
Mhm.
everything's scheduled, I plan to release one book a year. That's the goal, or
Mhm.
maybe a year and a half. So one
Right.
book every 12 to 18 months.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
next year, I'm hoping to release book two.
Okay. So okay, when if I'm going to read towards the end of the book, hindi naman ako mabibitin or something.
Ah, hindi naman.
Hindi
So
naman.
book's ending will have a sort of conclusion, but
Mm-mm.
it's also going to be very obvious. You know that the main thing isn't done.
Mm. Okay. The
Yeah.
main thing isn't done. Okay.
Yeah.
So we get to know Elise and Chris in this first book.
Hmm.
And will we see them in the other books as well, or wala na?
Absolutely, absolutely. So they will be the main characters. Them and their group. They have a small
Mm-mm.
group. Think Harry Potter. There's always a small group, and that whole group goes through all the books. And so every
Okay.
book in Harry Potter has an end, but you know Voldemort's still out there, right? Until the very
Okay.
end. So it's
Right.
kind of like that. It's kind of like that.
Mhm. Okay, so now, okay, this is becoming interesting because you mentioned they are a group. So who is the third person?
Sorry, it chopped a little bit.
Okay, yeah, sorry. I said you mentioned they're a group. So who is the third
Mm-hmm.
person? Third or fourth
Okay.
person? Yeah, because
So there,
in
there's a
every story,
yes.
there should be like someone who balances things out.
Medyo nag-chop ng konti.
Oo nga, oo nga.
But it's okay.
Mhm.
So there are several people in the group. So you've got Chris and Eileen, of course, and then you've got Empyrean. Empyrean is a weaver. He is a very influential, powerful weaver in a position of authority in the with the weavers, and
Mhm.
he acts as someone who he and Eileen are supposed to be together. So there's a love triangle issue there.
Uh-huh.
And then we meet a whole other cast of characters. We've got some Thalenor people coming in, so you get to see the Blade Dancers. Apparently, several people who've read the book, they really really love the Thalenor. They love the Blade
Mhm.
Dancers a whole lot, and I have a group of friends who said, "Hey, you have to write a spin-off and focus it all on the Thalenor." I'm like, "Whoa, okay, that's an idea." But yeah, so you'll meet some
Mhm.
Thalinar, you'll meet a few other humans who are trying to help, you'll meet the Jar as well, and
Mhm.
some allies from Atlantis as well. So you'll see all of them come together.
Wow, nice. Okay, so wow, this is becoming interesting. And even if I haven't heard about the Talonars, I would say yes, please do a spin-off. Yeah, I think that's something that is the challenge for us as writers because we want to introduce as much characters as we can because they're bugging us in our heads. Pero
Yes.
no, you're not the main character here. The spotlight should not be on you. It should be,
Hmm.
but again, they are supporting characters. Their role
Yes.
is to make sure that those other the main characters stand out or
Hmm.
manage to um work towards the goal of the book basically.
Yes.
So you mentioned sort of a like the darkness. Okay, the dark person or Voldemort kind of. Okay, the
Figure.
villain. Yeah, the
The
villain.
villain.
Right. can we talk about the villain? Or sa tingin mo, it will spoil the whole book na? I hope not.
Probably better not to say much, but I can say this much.
Mm-mm.
If you're a humanoid and you've
Mm.
got abilities and you feel that you are superior or you are more valuable than other humans, how would that affect how you view humans, and how would that
Mhm.
affect how you would want to live as kindred?
Mhm.
So that is essentially his mindset when you meet
Mhm.
him in the book.
Okay. I don't. Should it be a threat?
Very much so. Very
Okay,
much
okay,
so.
okay. Sige,
Mhm.
sige. Okay, let's not spoil. But
Mm-mm.
I think, yeah, this is the right moment for you to read us an excerpt para may mapag-usapan tayo moving forward.
Sure.
Yan, yan.
Sige.
Okay.
Um, just a warning though. With this book, I created an entire different language. So when I read parts that are not English, don't worry. When you read the book, there's going to be footnotes, and you'll know what they're saying. But it's in a different language.
Yay.
All right. I'm in chapter. I should not say the chapter. Anyway, sige. Three more gunshots echoed through the night in quick succession, prompting Eileen to turn the corner with two guardians behind her, fending off several gargs in pursuit. Their energy blasts tore through the beasts and went straight through and down the corridor, evaded by Alicia. Summoning her inner resources, she held her breath, weaved the air beneath her to blow a strong upward draft so that she could temporarily run sideways along the walls and upside down on the ceiling. More energy blasts went down the corridor for Alicia to avoid, all the while catching up to Eileen, who was making a beeline for Chris's room. Two guards approached her. Two guards approached her from the front, barreling down the hallway with maddened ferocity. She focused all her energy into her palms and completely obliterated one of them, while a guardian overtook her and rammed into the second one with the force of a truck. As the guardian pounded the guard with his enormous fists, Eileen slipped through the hallway and sprinted the moment Chris's door came into view. Keep going, Eileen heard from behind her. She glanced behind without slowing down and saw Alicia running sideways on the wall. Alicia made a pulling motion with her hand, and Chris's door ripped from his hinges. Without hesitation, Eileen entered the room and found Chris bleeding on the floor. Beside him was a Thalinar blade that Mardus had given him, a gun, a dead constrictor, and a dead guard which was still clamped onto his leg. Get it off, Chris bellowed amidst the burning pain while trying to open its mouth. Chris, wait, don't force its mouth open, Eileen commanded, a hint of panic in her voice. Their jaws lock and you won't pry them open. Hold still. Like that's going to be easy, Chris retorted. I'm going to slice it off, but I need you to hold still. Eileen took note of the dead guard's neck while making a blue energy blade materialize from her hand. Do it quickly, Chris grunted, gripping the dead guard's teeth, still trying to get its mouth open. I have to be careful, Chris. My energy blades aren't exactly solid. I said, don't move. Eileen snapped as she knelt and carefully inserted the blade into the guard's jaw. The carcass sizzled just as Alicia entered the room. And here comes the non-English words. Ila Aram, Alicia said, focusing her will on Chris. This time, she did what she knew how to do best, weaving sensations. As she focused on Chris's leg, he could feel the burning pain subside considerably. Two guardians arrived a few seconds later. One stood guard at the door while the other positioned himself at the window. Guardians let nothing through. Alicia, where are the blade dancers? Eileen asked while looking for the bones in the guard's jaw. Raham Firael Ephenos Gardatos Mas Delik, Mardos Seilas, Alicia responded. What the hell is happening? Chris groaned. We're under attack. 4 guardians are with Mardus. He should be safe. The blade dancers are outside, Eileen replied. But how did he find us? Alicia stepped forward. Eileen, Sefak Saresh Phil. English, damn it, Chris yelled. We must get moving, Alicia repeated. This room is indefensible. We have no idea how many more of these things are coming. I'm numbing the pain in your leg, but we have to get out of here now. So that's
Wow.
a scene.
What a scene. What a journey. Do you have the book in front of you? Baka pwede nating mapakita. Okay, hold on. Yan. Wait,
I
hindi siya nakikita. Okay, but
hindi
that's
siya
okay.
nakikita because of the but here.
Oo. Yeah, a little bit difficult. Basta, ayan yun. Ayan siya. It's a thick book.
Yeah, it's
Okay?
a thick book.
It's a thick book. How many pages do we have? I think over 400? Ayan. Kita natin siya.
Yeah, something like that. So it's 100,000 words essentially.
There.
So yeah,
Ayan. Looks like that.
yeah,
Ayan.
yeah. So it's a
Okay.
hundred
So
thousand words.
that's gonna be an exciting read for sure. I mean, given the excerpt that you just read for us. Thank you so much, David. Um, yeah, so you've got the book. And ito yung gusto kong itanong kanina. How did
Mm-mm.
you manage to create a different language? Ano to? Paano mo to nagawa?
Okay, so my favorite author of all time is Tolkien, Lord of the Rings,
Right.
and he made the Elvish language. He made language for the orcs, and I just love world building. I love world building. So I guess what I did was I pieced together what I thought would sound nice, and then assigned words to them. And then I'm part Chinese, and the way the Chinese language works is it's based more on context, right? Chinese words are based more on context and accent or tone, how you say
Mhm.
something. So essentially, I just studied how to write a language, and then I made one.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys can learn from David, okay? But I think um if you want to get into sci-fi or maybe basically just world building and creating an entire universe, a new language, then yes, please get the book, The Kindred Chronicles Between Two Worlds. It's only 650 pesos. I'm sure it's worth it because it's a thick book, 100,000 words, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be an adventure for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, David, a little bit more personal naman on your writer's journey. How did
Mhm.
you get into this? Okay, you've given us a clue. Okay, you've probably read The Lord of the Rings and all those other books. Okay,
Mhm.
but how did you get here, like writing your book?
Well, I want to encourage everybody. I
Mm.
don't have a literature background, so if I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay.
Mm.
I never thought I'd be able to do something like this in my dreams, my wildest dreams. And then I found out that my aunt
Mm.
actually published a book. It's a collection of poems, and that really encouraged me. And I said, if she can do it, I think maybe I can do it as well. So what I did was I read about writing. I read about 11 books on writing. I researched, I googled, I YouTubed, I because I had no idea what to do, right? And
Mm.
I'm kind of old school. So I bought as many books as I could on fiction, on novel writing, on narrative design. I took some classes here and there, and then I started writing. The first draft was really bad, so I had to rewrite, and then I learned some more. I got in touch with a few editors, and thankfully, it has a 4-star review from Clarion, and
Mm-hmm.
that encouraged me and made me decide I should write book 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, ayan. So, hindi siya, hindi siya yung tipo. Okay, so firstly, you've read a lot of books, you did your homework, and
Yes.
you made a lot of revisions.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what I want to shed light on to other writers as well. Na okay, you cannot just write. Okay, just write one thing and then um, hope to publish. Like hoping a publisher would publish it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes talaga kailangan like you really have to. Of course, a literary background is not necessary, but you need to do your homework, your
Yes.
due diligence. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there. So okay, going back to the Kindred Chronicles, um, this is 100% Pinoy sci-fi, but this has been published internationally, right?
Yes.
Clarion, yeah, it was reviewed by Clarion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, it's been reviewed by Clarion, Blue Ink, Forward, San Francisco. Yeah, those guys.
yeah. See. So
Yeah.
hey, it's a huge honor for 8 Letters to have this book. Like for choosing 8 Letters, to be the home of the Kindred Chronicles in the Philippines. It's a pleasure. And it's an honor. And by the way, I also want to mention that this book is going to be at the Hong Kong International Book Fair. I mean, we launched this book at the Philippine Book Fair, but this time we're bringing it to Hong Kong. Yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. I mean, Southeast Asia literature,
Yeah.
we have to fight our way to like on that stage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we should put in more spotlight into like like talented Filipino writers, like of course you, David. I mean that's the goal. So yes, that's the goal here at 8 Letters. We're into um, finding or discovering writers like David na international international na yung narating, and yet oh, by the way, this is probably the last question. Um, no, second to the last. Why is it that after publishing it internationally, you decide to bring it into like locally naman?
Uh, Honestly, it's very simply because I'm Filipino and
Mm-mm.
I had no idea how to do things before, and so I just looked for the fastest way, and it was all abroad and everything. But when I found out that there's actually a writers community here in the Philippines who are passionate, they we want to break into the scene. I said, I just want to firmly plant my flag with
Mm-mm.
the Pinoy writers community, and so yeah, I terminated my contract with some of the stuff abroad, and I said, yeah, let's go Pinoy.
Yeah,
So
okay. That's good for you to hear. That's good for us to hear then. This is like I mean you've had your, I would say, that opportunity, but then you're going back to your roots. And
yes,
who else should read Pinoy sci-fi but Filipinos, right? In the first place, we guys should enjoy it. So David is actually has been leading another writers organization then called
mm-hmm,
Suwata. Do you want to talk
mm-hmm.
about that?
Yeah, sure. So
Mm-mm.
Suwata is, and it used to be just for Cebu, but we're opening it up now to anybody
Mm-mm.
who wants to join from the Philippines. So Suwata is a small writers community. We're small, but
Mm-mm.
we're active, and if you're based in Cebu, much the better because we hang out and we have pizza parties. So we just met this morning and we had pizza. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so we have fun. We write, we help each other, we polish each other's stuff, we comment, we critique one another, and so that way, um, whatever you're writing, your IPs, your intellectual properties, you won't have as much difficulty when it comes to developmental edit and all of that because we help one another while it's still a work in progress. Suwata is also connected with, or is helping in terms of partnerships with the Cebu Chamber of Commerce, the city government, and CCAP as well. And we are trying our best to get all our IPs out there into the foreign markets, and that's something very exciting. So yeah, if you are a writer, you want to join us, just shoot us a message us, and yeah, we'll be happy to show you how to go about it. It's
great.
a free community. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh my God, I'm missing out on the pizza thing. I should be in Cebu right now. Pero David, where can we follow you? Ang dami kong last questions. Pero yan, where can we follow you if you want to know about what's gonna happen on book 2, 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, okay. I have
Mhm.
one very simple page. It's a Facebook page. It's called Stories by D.A. Chan. So, Stories by D.A. Chan on Facebook. D.A. Chan is spelled how you see it in the screen, D.A. Chan. And it's going to be my face there anyway. That's where I put everything, all my updates about the book, about Suwata, what we're doing, about the opportunities that are happening, the everything. It's all there. Facebook page is Stories by D.A. Chan.
Yun, yan. Thank you, David. So there you have it, guys. Once again, it's only 650 pesos on our website, and soon it will be available on Shopee. So yeah, please get yourselves, treat yourself a copy of the Kindred Chronicles. Okay. Thank you so much, David.
Thank
Eh,
you also, Cindy.
all right. Okay. Thanks so much. Bye. Um, Okay, so now we're on to our next writer. So I hope you guys got your sci-fi fix, because up next we'll have a poetry collection. Okay, so a little info before I get the author on stage. So January again is written by Justin Dane Masim, who lives in the city of Marikina. Okay, so from Cebu, we're moving into Marikina, okay, where she spent most of her childhood. She's a pharmacist by profession and a writer in her free time. She grew up with an incredibly loving and supportive family who molded her to the woman she is today, a woman with a heart so full of love that almost seemed inexhaustible. Wow. So Justin loves writing about the feelings she can never fully express or the emotions that she would rather keep unsaid. With words of affirmations as her love language, it has always been her dream to touch the heart of other people with her warm and genuine words through her poems. She has always been amazed as to how sincere words could comfort her soul, which is why she wanted to encourage others with her words too. So, publishing her poems has always been on her bucket list, and eventually, with January again, it became a reality. So hi Justin. Welcome to 8 Letters.
Hi, Miss Cindy. Good afternoon.
Ayun, good afternoon then. So yes, so January again. Um this is a collection of poetry. Sabi dito, it emanate a story about two lovers who almost gave up on each other while trying to find the right time for more than a decade now. So this is not about like affirmation or whatsoever. It's about um lovers actually. Tama ba?
Yes, yes. January again is a collection of prose and poetry about a love that is tested through time. You know, Miss Cindy, that kind of love that for some reason has always been an almost kind of love story. So,
Mhm.
almost because for some reason, hindi siya palagi natutuloy. So, maybe because back then they're still too young to know that this is already love, or
Mhm.
maybe because they're too busy growing up or making themselves better on their own, or maybe they're they're just afraid to risk their relationship by taking it to the next level because they're happy naman with the company of each other, or maybe tumatiming lang talaga sila. They're just waiting
Mhm.
for each other or waiting for the right time. That's why in this book, you will feel na maraming regrets, maraming mga
Mhm.
what ifs and could have been. Yun, Miss Cindy.
Ayun. So, Justin, if I read this book, January, again, as you can see here pala, on our website, it's only 350 pesos. If I read this book, yes, you did mention about regrets and the almost, but would you say na I'll be able to have some sort of resolution towards the end? Ano ba to? Happy ending pa rin ba to? Or will it be a forever almost?
Um, I cannot say for now because
Okay.
I'm actually working on my second book. So, medyo kasunod po siya nun. Yung after January again, what happened. So, I hope
Wala.
that book will be published by 8 Letters.
Mhm. Yes, for sure. So, Justin, do you have the title already? Is it February again?
I know. I actually don't have a title yet, Miss Cindy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. I'm just kidding. So January again. That's good that you're on to your next book na. Let's talk about. Okay, where did you get the inspiration in writing this collection? Because sometimes, di ba, pag nagsusulat tayo ng poems, it's usually our like our own experiences or other people experiences. Ano ba to? Kakanood ba natin to ng telenovelas or something like that?
I actually got my inspiration. It's actually it's my first love. So I started writing this last January 2019 because back then there are a lot of feelings that I myself cannot handle on my own. That's
Mhm.
why the best thing I could do is write. So it's more of a therapeutic kind of writing for me. I don't know, Miss Cindy, if ako lang ba, but there's really something about January that made me
Mhm.
look back on the things that happened not only in the past year but even in
Mhm.
the years way way back, no. So, yan, nung January
Mhm.
2019, parang ang daming reflection na nangyari, and yan,
Mhm.
tama po na ang daming, masyadong maraming feelings. So, I just
Mhm.
write them.
Mhm. Was this January 2020 or January 2019?
2019 po.
Okay, before the pandemic. Okay.
Yes.
Kasi things, I mean, the pandemic would really take us back to the past na parang
Yes.
iisipin natin, oh my gosh, kailangan, dapat pala ginawa ko na to, ganyan, ganyan. But okay, so that's good to know. That's 2019. But you're definitely right. I feel the same way too whenever January comes, no? Kaya sometimes, di man sometimes, but most of the time, every January, nagpapa-challenge kami sa
Mm.
31 letters. So, kasi
Hmm.
like, the writers would have their regrets na parang, ay, hindi ako nakapagsulat. So, that's why there's that challenge. But then, going back to the main point here, yung January again is, nasulat mo siya noong 2019, but then,
Yes.
after writing this, okay, you did mention that parang naging therapy siya for you.
Yes.
That, like, you felt better.
Yes. Actually, nag-start siya noong January 2019, and then I think halfway ng January. And then tama ka po, during pandemic, I had more time to reflect since lockdown and work from home. So, na-force din ako na magstay lang sa bahay. And yun, nagsulat lang din ako. And so that time, I made an anonymous Instagram account in which I posted the poems I wrote since 2019. So it's an anonymous because I'm really shy when it comes to my writing. So I don't know, because maybe I never had a formal education on writing kasi I studied BS Pharmacy po during college. So very different field talaga yung writing na to. And I'm shy din because at the back of my mind, I know this is my vulnerable side, my weak side. So by letting others read them or see this side of me, I feel na baka they would sort of judge me or think na masyado akong madrama or maraming hukot in life. But, ayun, kasi parang sometimes, I think it's easier to tell your pain or yung mga pinagdadaanan mo to a stranger because they don't know you. So they won't be able to judge you. And so parang wala ka din magiging restrictions in expressing yourself to them. Kaya I chose the path na maging anonymous muna sa Instagram at that time. And then I received a few good comments from the readers kasi nagpo-put po ako ng hashtag doon. So it could reach yung mga readers na mahilig din humugot. And then until one day, there is this page na nag-message sa akin na they want to feature one of my poems in their page. So parang that boosted my confidence in writing na, oy, okay naman pala yung mga sulat ko. So I was able to continue doing it, no, during the pandemic. Hanggang sa mag-January na ulit, tapos dumami na naman yung hugot ko. Ayun, tapos, ayun, parang nung dumami na siya, that's when I realized na why not publish this? Yun, dun po ako nag-start mag-isip mag-publish.
Wow. What a journey, Justin. Parang 2019 and it's already 2023. I mean, look at how far you've come. So, maybe para magka-idea din yung mga viewers natin, if you can read us an excerpt or two, baka dalawahin na natin para, kasi napansin ko na hindi naman sila ganun kahaba. So, maybe, yeah, choose two piece na pwedeng mabasa natin sa audience. Ayan. Okay, whenever you're ready. Ayan.
Yes. So the title is To My Younger Self. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it'd be this. Wherever your heart goes, you must follow. If your heart goes across the ocean, then swim. If your heart goes to the moon, then fly. Because if you ignore it, it will learn to stop talking to you. It will learn to stop trying. You will feel lonely, and all your life you will wonder why. And then the second poem, the title is That's Enough. And if ever in the future we didn't end up together, I will still be proudly telling our story with exactly the same emotions, same level of excitement and sadness, same amount of tears in my eyes, and still say, see, even our sad memories are beautiful. That's enough.
Oh, okay. So, ayan.
Madrama po ba, Miss Cindy?
Madrama.
Di
Pero,
ba?
okay lang. May nangyari, may ano ba? May nangyari ba doon sa sinabi mong first love or wala? I mean, it was just a pathway para makapagsulat sa tingin mo.
Meron po.
Pero naman, okay.
Apa.
May pinatunguhan naman siya. So,
May
is it
pinatunguhan.
positive or negative? Or
Positive naman, Miss
okay,
Cindy.
that's good to hear. Yan, bigyan mo siya ng libro na to. Yan. Ayan. Okay, that's great. And thank you for, buti na lang, maikli lang siya kasi parang hindi rin, ito yung tipo na pag binasa mo, it's just, few lines, pero pag binasa mo siya, mabigat siya, and kailangan mo i-digest ng mabuti. No, i-digest mo, because like you have to like inhale, exhale, and and then parang gusto mo sabihin, okay, bukas na lang yung sunod kasi hindi ko pa kayang harapin. Feeling ko ganun siya. So, that's January again. By the way, I just want to mention, itong January again is going to be printed in premium cream paper. So, it's gonna be a nice, handy book, aesthetically pleasing book. So, yun, para maganda rin yung reading experience. Okay, so going back to January again, you did mention that you're writing the next book. And you also did mention na, this is a part-time for you. Because your full-time is actually like a pharmacist. You work as a pharmacist. How do you find the balance between writing and also, life in general?
Actually, yan din yung tanong ng mga friends ko. I don't know, Miss Cindy, because as mentioned, I just write when I have so many feelings. So, kapag masyadong busy, hindi rin ako nakakasulat. And since it's kind of a part-time lang naman for me, hindi rin ako masyadong nape-pressure into writing, which I think is good kasi nga I write Hello, Miss Cindy?
Yes, hello, yes.
Ayan.
Okay, ayan. Okay, sorry.
Nawala po yata ako.
Di ko alam kung ako yung nawala o ikaw yung nawala. So yeah, you did mention na hindi mo rin sure kung paano ka nakakapagsulat. So you just find time basically. Ano yun? Pag traffic,
Pwede po.
pwede. Okay, that's good. Okay, so what would be your advice as a poet? Because sometimes aminin na natin, or actually we have to admit, you're a writer, you're a poet. After releasing this book, and you did mention na like before nahihiya ka because you really didn't study how to write poetry, diba? But then I just wanted to highlight again sa mga bago pa lang na kakasali pa lang natin ngayon. Sometimes writing, okay, medyo controversial to like for example, Lang Liev, right? I am not sure of her educational background, but whatever she writes, people love it. Diba? People love what she writes and people can relate to what she writes. And I think that's the most important thing naman na you're nakaka-relate sa'yo yung ibang tao. But then how do you introduce yourself as a writer to your friends and family? Like, kasi you did mention na you tried in Instagram muna before, like as an anonymous writer, and then, well, now I can see a lot of people commenting here. How did you how did you introduce yourself na, hey, I've got a book?
um, actually, hello sa mga friends ko dyan. Shout out.
Yeah, thank you sa supportive friends.
Thank you sa supportive friends. Well, as a writer, all I can say is I write from my heart because since I don't have a background on writing, parang ang hirap po to write ng something na hindi mo na-experience. So, and if you write from the bottom of your heart, I'm sure your readers will reach you. Parang they will know what you want to say.
Okay, so yes, buti na lang din may mga supportive family and friends din tayo dito. Ayan, so please make sure to get yourselves a copy of Justine's book entitled January again. So okay. So let's go back again doon sa content ng libro. You gave us a brief outline. So kanina may mga sinabi ka na regrets, almost, ganyan. And then you gave us an example. You've read an excerpt. Okay. And then you also did mention that the inspiration of all these poems was your first love, ayan, and all that. Who should read this book?
Ayun. Actually, Miss Cindy, iniisip ko nga kanina kung sino. Iniisip ko pa kung yung mga grade school student, humuhugot na ba ngayon? Pero I believe those who have enough experience with love and life, siguro mga 20s up to yung mga age nung lola and lola natin. No? Kasi I believe even yung mga lolo and lola natin, even at their age, some of them still cannot move on from their first love, or some still have their thought gas, yung mga the one that got away nila. So yan.
Ayun. Okay, so okay, that's good. If you're 19 and below, maybe hindi pa para sa ito, but I think because I mean love is universal. So pwedeng if you feel na if it's beyond puppy love, kasi sorry, there's another thought again in my head. Puppy love versus first love. Okay, so yeah, you guys should read this book if you think that you've encountered that kind of love. Okay, I think this time yung minention ko kanina na thought, first love versus puppy love. Can we define that? Like, would you say na yung first love mo ba was a puppy love? Or because puppy love is like when you're teens, right? When you're in your teens.
Siguro it started as a puppy love.
Mm-hmm.
And then through the years, you realize na it's more than that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Kasi, yan, when you read January again, you will know.
Oo. Parang, actually, meron din ako like a few experiences in the past. Marami akong minahal. Pero, but what I'm trying to say is, looking at it from a different perspective na ngayon na like, you're mature na, you're 20 plus na, ayoko sabihin yung edad, but you're beyond that age na. Parang, you realize na, oh God, I was so silly. Bakit ko ito nagawa? You know, parang, hindi naman dapat. Like, I should have focused on myself first, or maybe, why did I force myself into this kind of like situation? So, alam mo yun, like, have you got this kind of experience din ba with your first love?
Yes. Yes na lang nasabi ko, Miss Cindy.
Oo nga. Ano ba naman tong host na to?
Bakit parang nag-iba na yung topic, Miss
Oo
Lee?
nga.
Naging
Hindi,
about
yun nga.
love, ano na, joke.
Oo, kasi 'di ba, I want to shed light on the like the inspiration on writing January again because you did mention your first love inspired it. And then yun nga, yung iba kong thought about first love versus puppy love, we would encounter this kind of love when you're below 20s,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Ayun, pag masyado tayong maagang ayoko sabihin yung word. Pag masyado tayong maagang nag-expect ng pagmamahal galing sa iba. So, yun.
Yes.
Okay. Yun. Oh, so that is January again. So, Justine, where can we find you? Para naman malaman natin kung ano, yung mga magiging update mo sa mga susunod na book, ganyan. And sa susunod na events. Or, say for example, kung gusto nila magpa-sign sa'yo, like, where can we find you? Like, can we just go to your Facebook page? Ganyan. Can you tell us?
Yes. I am very active sa Instagram ko. So you can just search me, Justine Dane, or you can just search my handle at @JUSTINA. 𝐬𝐡𝐞 And in Facebook, you can just search for my name, Justine Dane Massey.
Yun. Ayan. Thank you. Thank you, Justin. So, you guys,
Thank you.
make sure to get yourselves a copy. January again, 350 pesos. It will also be available on Amazon and also on Shopee and Lazada. Ayun, thank you so much sa mga supportive friends. Ang dami dito. Ang daming friends and family. So, ayan, pag wala tayong nakuhang pre-orders after nito, ewan ko na lang. But yun, thank you so much. Sabi ko nga, it's gonna be a beautiful book. Inside and outside. Yun. Thank you so much, Justine.
Thank you,
Ayun.
Cindy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Ayan. So, ayan, we just had Justine Masim, the author of January again. We'll take a 4-minute break before we get to our next group of writers. Yes, it's a group of writers. And also, I want to mention then na we'll have another author on a separate live. We are going to launch Stressed Again by Kevin Llamas. So just keep on refreshing this page and we'll have him at 5:30. So yes, let's take a short break and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, see you. All right. So welcome back to 8 Letters Bookstore and Publishing Book Talk with Cindy. So, okay. So up next, we'll have the team called the Filipino Writers, and we'll talk about their collection, their first anthology entitled The Dark is Waiting to Sing. So, just a little bit of info before we get them on stage. Okay, so The Dark is Waiting to Sing is the first ever book anthology of the Filipino writers. It encompasses the different styles and poetic voices of each contributor, with themes ranging from the soft hush of whispered love poems to the raging angst of depression, penned with darkened indigo lines in varying shades, tempo, and intensity. It peels the skin of darkness and unveils its soul deep scars for the whole world to see. So, reading this after being stunned by a breakup message or the lack of it, drowned by morbid thoughts and anxiety nursing wounds through a sweating glass of rum, troubled by the trivialities and veiled by a patchwork of dreaded thoughts, we hope that you enjoy each flip. Okay, so without further ado, may I call on stage the writers, the Filipino writers? Hold on, I believe I got Marielle and ICL. Can you hear me?
Hello, Miss Cindy. Good
Hello
afternoon.
po.
Good afternoon. There's also Gemaline and Ma'am Yao.
Hi.
Yeah. Ayan. Hi. Hi,
Hi.
everyone. Okay, so, yeah. Okay, so I believe, okay, we've been coordinating with Marielle, who's the leader of the group. So maybe I'll get Marielle introduced us. What is the Filipino Writers all about?
Actually, the Filipino Writers po, Miss Cindy, it is a group formed in the platform All Poetry po. We decided to create it in order for us to have a platform wherein it would be exclusive for all Filipino writers po sa All Poetry. So para meron kaming home group kumbaga doon sa All Poetry because we have been in a lot of groups sa All Poetry pero wala pa po kami so far nakikita na exclusively for Filipinos siya.
Oh, right, right. I definitely agree with you. Parang may mga, like, there are a few, pero it's good that you guys initiated on starting this. So, siguro, maybe, ilan ba tayo dito? So, apat. Apat yung writers dito. Pero, I believe doon sa entire book, ilang authors yung nandoon?
We're actually 13 writers sa entire book po namin. 13
Okay,
Filipino
so,
writers po, Miss Cindy.
13. 13. Okay, so perhaps you can introduce us to the ladies that we have here. So we have Marielle and Icy. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Marielle, and this is Ate Icy. We're both from Iloilo, and of course we have po Ate Mamyao and Ate Gemaline. Actually coming from different parts of the Philippines, and our only connection is purely on screen po, Miss Cindy.
Wow. Okay, so siguro I will let them introduce themselves as well as writers.
Mm.
So maybe can we start with Ma'am Yao? Ma'am Yao,
Yes,
is it
hi.
okay if you provide us some description about yourself as a writer?
Um yeah. Okay, so I'm a housewife primarily, but I do write um mostly dark poetry. And but sometimes I also delve into narrative poetry and um what do you call this? Um sensual poetry as well.
Okay. Okay. So we'll get to have kung may excerpt kayo, baka pwede nating basahin 'yan
Sure.
mamaya. Ayun. Thank you, Ma'am Yao. And how about Gemaline? Gemaline?
Yes. Um, Hi, my name is Jemeline Magalona. I've been writing since 2015.
Mhm.
I do. so well in the dark poetry too, like Meow. I often write themes of sorrow, despair, and all the dark poetry themes. And I've been uh, I tried to, I really tried to incorporate all those feelings into this genre. And like Meow, I also delved into the sensual poetry. It's really hard to write that, but I think I have a skill for it because when you don't experience those things, you tend to kind of I don't know this and I don't know that. So and also I can also write happier themes when I can. So in the website I've been joining contests as well. So I think so for 8 years I've been writing stuff all the time. And right now I don't have so much time to write, but because I work as a call center agent, so my time is limited. But when I do have time, write um I write poetry, and I try to write a narrative poem as well. But prose is different from poetry because it requires a lot of characters, settings, and all the elements of a story. And I've been happy with my writing. I've joined other writing anthologies too before. Yes, so I'm really happy about my
The development.
yes, it's been one of the things I've been proud of. I was just introduced to it by my friend before. She was the one who encouraged me actually, and then it became a thing. And I think it was one of those things that I really turn into when I don't have someone to talk to, or when I feel this thing. So I think that's the greatest thing about poetry. You can write everything, and yeah, and it's been quite that. And in the website, so we have a group there. I was the one who actually founded it, but in time, I completely I didn't have time to manage the group already. So when I see we try to build it again, I was happy about it, and that became our haven for us Filipinos, because here in the Philippines we are not really recognized, as a writer, because here the culture doesn't read at all. First of all, right? Unlike in the United States where you can have school libraries here and forth, but here we only have like one in Quezon City and one in Manila, the National Library. So it's not a thing here. So it's really hard to get into readers with this kind of with the help of social media and other marketing strategies. I think we can establish uh, a
Yeah.
recognition there as Filipino writers, because it's entirely different here compared to the US. Yeah.
Yes,
So
I agree.
I was really I was attracted to the culture of them being have libraries here and forth. That's what I've been looking for, but it's just really different. But I'm happy about other readers that tend to read all sort of things, like this kind um of
Mhm.
literature.
Oo.
So there.
Taga saan po kayo, Miss Gemeline? Kasi
I mean,
kanina, sabi ni Mariel and IC, they're
mm,
from Iloilo. And where are you from?
I'm in Quezon City actually.
Okay. And then how about Ma'am Yao?
Quezon City as well.
Okay, Quezon City as well. Okay. So there, wow, Iloilo to Quezon City. Okay. So kanina we just had an order in Cebu, and I think Justin is from Marikina.
Mhm.
So later on we will have another writer. And I think yes, you're definitely right, Miss Gemeline. There I think the industry, I would say it's still very young. Parang marami pa tayong kailangan gawin to catch
Mm.
up with what the US has been doing, what
Yes.
the other countries have been doing as well. Yeah, so I think as writers and publishers ourselves, all we can do for now is try to push like itong book talk with with 8 letters. We've been doing this for quite some time now, and it's not the perfect platform, but at least we have these platform to talk about these
Mm.
nerdy things. Yon. So how okay, going back, let's have IC naman to introduce herself as well. Na miss out natin si IC.
Yes, Ma'am Cindy. Good afternoon. Yes, ma'am.
Ayun.
I've been writing poetry since high school po. Actually, schoolmate po kami ni Mariel. And
Mm.
about sa all poetry naman po, naging member ako ng college ako. And as sa all poetry, the Filipino Writers po na group, as sinabi kanina ni Mariel, ginawa namin yung grupo para po makagather po ng lahat ng Filipino writers sa all poetry. Since it is a small platform po, around 60,000 writers lang yung nandoon internationally, gumawa po kami ng paraan para mag-gather po yung mga Filipinos and magkaroon po ng exclusive group po talaga. For my poems po naman, I've published The Language of Wildflowers po, yung unang book ko na ako lang talaga yung sumulat. And I've been also sa different anthologies po sa all poetry. I write mostly about depressing things and withering things. Mostly po about depression talaga yung focus ko. And about death. So I guess that would be
Oo,
all.
yun na. Oo. How about you, Mariel? Do you wanna say something na miss out natin kanina?
Okay, ayun nga po, while all poetry is about, of course, us having our own voices sa ano namin, sa libro namin at the Filipino, made by the Filipino writers. I personally am as a writer po is purely focusing on emotive poetry po talaga. So whatever I write, it's always about or it's always taken out of my personal experiences and of course maybe melded with the experiences of other people. And what I love about our platform and also within, of course, this group, the Filipino Writers po, is that we were allowed to have this kindred bond as writers po, despite having unique voices. Nakakita po kami ng platform or yes, this common group, this home group wherein we could be ourselves, and that is through our writing and our poetry. Yan po, Miss Cindy.
Oo. Alam ko na meron ding kasama niyo si Daniel, because man is actually one of our writers. Marami kayong lalaki, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure why babae lang yung nag-show up dito. Uh, but anyway, I think before I get into my next question, I want to show this book that's already on our platform. Okay, the 8 letters website. You can now order the book for only 420 pesos. It will soon be available on Shopee and also in Lazada, as well as in ebook form, okay, in Amazon. So at least now, that's good news. Good news. Okay, now the first step, the first step was getting your voice heard. Okay, so that's the first step, and then second is like trying to spread out the word. And I think the next thing is to ensure that you guys don't stop. You guys continue. Okay, there. So yeah, it's only 420 pesos. Okay, so my next question here is, okay, Mariel, knowing that all of these writers are located in different parts of the Philippines, um, um, how did you get into organizing it? Kasi like we communicate all the time, and then of course there are all the other writers here, right? Maybe let's start with Ma'am Yao. So you have this GC. I just want to have an understanding, group chat or something.
Yeah. Um, the first time when we were planning this, we were talking about it on the allpoetry.com website.
Wow.
So we were communicating through the group chat there. But since some of our members are even overseas, so the time difference makes it difficult na makakuha ng reply agad from the others. So IC created a group chat for us, and dun na siya mas bumilis yung process. So um dun na nabuo yung concept, pati yung paggawa ng book cover, tsaka yung pagpasa ng mga um, ah, akda, lahat dun na siya nagawa.
Mhm. Okay, while we still have the spotlight on you, Ma'am Yao, can you
Mhm.
perhaps read an excerpt of your work para
Okay,
malaman
sure.
naman, malaman naman natin kung ano ba yung nilalaman ng libro.
Okay. So this is entitled That Night When I Was Drinking Alone. Okay, so just an excerpt.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read the last four stanzas.
Mhm.
Okay. A procession of the dearly departed, each leaving me a harlequin kiss, while the moon peeked in, a curious and lonely bystander. She came then, smiling benignly, clad in black, kohl on her eyes. I offered her a cup of wine. She shook her head and declined. She kissed me, a chaste kiss, and moved on with the rest, a shepherd herding her flock, and I was left alone, bleeding still. I raised my glass to the moon and downed the last of my Malbec. Tomorrow will find me here still, alone and unloved and undead.
Okay, wow, I can feel the darkness sa binasa mo. Wow, okay, patikim pa lang yan. We'll have three more writers reading their excerpts. Maybe, thank you, Ma'am Yao, for that. How about Jemeline? Do you have something for us? An excerpt, perhaps?
Malapit na kayo.
Sure.
Okay,
Wait.
okay.
Wait lang ah. Sandali.
Dark din ba to? O,
Ah, wait lang. Sandali. Sabi. Teka lang po ah.
sige, sige, sige. Take your time. Ayan. So, kayo ba, Icy and Marielle, do you have your excerpts as well? Habang hinihintay natin si Gemily.
Okay.
Ayan, kasi, ayan.
Meron
I'm
po,
not,
nandito po.
meron na.
The
Si
Meron
title
na.
of
Mariel
this
muna.
piece
Sige.
was, eh,
Ayan, ayan. Sige, hintayin natin si Gemily. Sige, sige.
Sige.
Okay, at least you guys are
Sige.
ready. Sige,
Excerpt,
Gemily.
excerpt lang naman ano.
Oo,
Tama.
excerpt lang.
Okay,
Excerpt
sige.
lang. Okay, okay.
Okay. I burned the effigy of poison-laden dreams and buried it in the April graveyards of my crimson veins. I left for you the drug reflections of my pristine memoirs as I read my heart tonight in tragedy of us. Ayun po.
Wow.
Yan. Thank you, Jemeline. Okay, so next, perhaps, Marielle, you can read an excerpt.
okay, so the title of this piece was Unmade Unclothed. I walked into June as a fragile form made up of miserable flakes, the remains of summer. One could offer me a hand and I would tremble like a decaying tree leaf, as if anyone would dare touch me. Is deliberately unmade of their gentleness? Or is it that I was just unclothed of my strength? that was it po.
Oh, thank you, Marielle. And I see.
Ah, yes, ma'am. So my poem is actually titled entitled. So an excerpt. But your smile poked my soul in a good way. It shook hands with my poetry. It took a seat on my heart's old and dusty couch and never left. I remember how my metaphors brushed with your sensible humor, how we became each other's muse, how we fell in love and never bothered to get back up. Now you sit on my dedication page, a name aging like a postal stamp on a letter never read. And now the tears are swimming down my face. Oh, I should have stayed instead. So that's it.
Wow. Oh, thank you, thank you. Okay, there you have it. I think with the four excerpts that were read, I think we're able to get a grasp on what the dark is waiting is all about. Are you guys working on another project, or your focus muna dito sa the dark is waiting?
Actually, we're currently focusing as a group po sa Dark
Mm-hmm.
is waiting to sing Miss Cindy. But we are also planning for it is also part of our plans to have another individually rin po. Meron din po mga plans. Pero as for the group, I am so sure for that it is and last. And we are looking forward po for the next collaborations.
And that's good to hear. W- uh, Perhaps siguro kanina sa Silit Writers Festival, I discussed about how do you start or how do you build a community with the same interest as you do. And I did mention that there's actually a formula based on our experience. And I started a lot of groups in the past, and I wouldn't say that they're all successful. um, I would say now of course it's successful, pero marami kaming naging struggles in the past. How about you guys as the pioneers of the Filipino writers? Ano ba yung like have you guys learned something new na pwede nyong ma-apply in the future projects, ganyan? Perhaps let's maybe Ma'am Yao, have you got something for us? Na parang
Mm,
sana pala ginawa natin 'to, ganyan.
well, when I joined the Filipino writers, they were already established. Um, I think it was Jem who invited me into the group.
Mhm.
But but the thing is to try and um invite others. You really have to put yourself out there.
Mhm.
You don't have to you don't have to be afraid. You have to be brave enough to put your foot forward
Mhm.
and really ask people, especially if you get to know them. Uy, Filipino ka pala, sali ka sa amin. Whether they're half Pinoy or
Mhm.
they're full Pinoy, OFWs na mahilig lang magsulat,
Mm.
Mhm.
invite them. Kasi you'll never know eh. And once you've created that community, tuloy-tuloy na yan eh. Kasi especially lalo na sa allpoetry.com, we share our works sa board and we
Mhm.
get to comment on that. And yung sharing ng yun ng works mo and knowing how your fellow Filipinos, not just poets, fellow Filipinos accept your work, it's really heartening.
Mhm.
Nakakataba ng puso. So, kaya tinutu tina pa rin namin siyang ituloy. kahit na medyo busy kaming lahat ngayon, maraming pinagkakaabalahan. So, tuloy lang ang pag-ano, ang pagpapatuloy. Padayon lang.
Ayun, nice.
Mm.
Okay. That's good to hear because sabi mo kanina you have your family then as well to tend to, and yeah, that's very true, and I would say it happens to a lot of us na okay, I have this full-time job and we cannot just solely rely on the products of our imagination like
Mm.
writing, diba? So how about you, Miss Gemeline? You founded a group.
Yes.
So like how do you feel about finally getting into this stage, and what would be the next for the Filipino writers?
I
Do you
think
have what's the vision?
kasi before kasi when I joined this community on all poetry, kasi marami kasing foreigners na nagsusulat doon. So wala talaga siyang Pinoy. I was the
Mm-mm.
only one I think na nagko-compete sa mga iba't ibang contest
Mm-mm.
doon. And then I got recognized there as a writer actually. And then may mago-gold kami mga Pinoy din pala doon na nagsusulat na unrecognized, no. So I thought before, why not invite those into a group, sa isang group, 'di ba? Tapos nakita ko marami pa nagsusulat na Pinoy. And then ay ano yun, nakilala ko na sila IC and then si Mamiya, and then sila Daniel, others. Ayun. And then ang maganda lang kasi before, 'di ba? This is just really sa'tin hobby before kami. Kasi siyempre busy rin kami. And then to put these things into materials and into a book actually was the most rewarding thing for us, I think. Kasi dati lang nag-aano kami, nag-exchange kami idea sa mga ganito eh. Tapos ngayon at andito na, andito na physically, andito na, 'di ba? So I think yun yung pinaka-highlight ng ng stage namin as a writer. Especially dito sa atin na ang mga kilala lang, yung kilala lang, 'di ba? Kasi ang hirap din mag-establish ng isang poetry community as a Filipino kasi um, not all of us read eh. Pero kami kasi hilig namin at the same time we love writing din. So I think to be able to na pagtipon-tipunin lahat ng mga writer na may same passion as what we do, I think that's really uh, a camaraderie or like a family. Oh, kasi and then we have other plans we have other plans I think. Pero right now, ito kasi yung pinaka-ano namin, pinaka-project. So, to be able to see this into quotation is the most rewarding thing for all of us na pangarap lang maging, author, Kasi it's really rewarding eh. Parang kapag writer ka, ay, nagsusulat ka lang sa Wattpad, mga ganun. Pero kung ito mismong libro, ay, ito na, nahawak ko na. So, like me, it was when, first time kasi nag-self-publish ako noon with the help of a friend. Way back 2017 sa Amazon. Kasi si Amazon kasi, hindi wala siya rito sa atin eh. So, it's hard really to establish a community, yung bumili or mag-promote. So, ngayon nakita ko to, I'm really happy about it. For all of us here na nagsusulat at the same time na we have the same passion for writing things. So, yun po.
Ayun, dapat makita natin to sa Manila International Book Fair, which will be 2 months from now. Okay? Yun. So, we'll update you guys. And total taga QC lang naman kayo. So, ayan. So, hopefully, yung mga malalapit, makarating, or kahit, malayo kayo, I hope makarating kayo. We can organize that. Okay? So, lalo na, marami din naman kayo sa community. So, it would really help na aside from meeting online, maganda rin yung mag-meet face-to-face. So, ayun.
Maganda so, mga book signing ba?
Oo. May ganun tayo. So,
dedication.
Yung mga ganun.
Yes. So, meron tayong ganyan sa Philippines, but yun nga, syempre, we are a boutique publishing house, but we'll get there. So we'll try to
Mm.
conclude our book talk.
Actually,
Perhaps yes.
before, alam ko yung Manila Book Fair. When I was in high school, I'm really one of those.
Mm,
We're attending that before every year. So it's really nice, and then you can see all the writers and all the books. So when syempre matanda na ako ngayon, gustong-gusto ko pa rin pumunta but I really don't have time eh.
Ayan, sana makapunta po kayo. You can check out the dates. It's going to be held at the SMX Convention Center. So, yun. Pag-usapan po natin yun later on. But to conclude this book talk, Mariel, being the coordinator, can you guys let us know paano namin mapafollow yung the Filipino Writers and um, paano ba? How do we find you guys?
Actually, po,
Mm,
we have a Facebook page. The name is the Filipino Writers of All Poetry. And we could share to you the link of the Facebook page para po ma-follow nyo ang lahat ng updates namin. And of course, the page also have the details, it has the details of all of the writers. You will get to know us more there. And of course, maybe we could show you snippets of our pieces and of course teasers or previews of what we have written on the book. Mga ganun po. And other na pakulo na maiisipan namin. Pag-iisipan namin. So, we are really happy to, of course, finally show that the dark is waiting to sing to the world. And we really are, on behalf of the Filipino writers, thank you so much to, of course, 8 Letters for giving us the chance to finally have this. And thank you so much, Miss Cindy.
Yeah. Thank you so much as well. And yes,
thank you.
let's support the Filipino writers. Let's follow them on Facebook and let's wait for them at the upcoming book fair. Okay, so there you have it. Thank you so much. Bye everyone. Maraming
Thank you.
salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Okay, we'll have another book talk, but yes, just refresh this page. Thank you all. Thank you everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.